Over the clipper, that's right. It's going to look like this. We're going to come in, we're going to hold the comb at an angle. We're going to cut across. This is called overhand clipper over comb. Overhand clipper over comb is used below the crest line of the head. The occipital below the crest line of the parietal ridge is the widest point of the head. Anytime we are cutting under the crest line, we will cut with overhand positioning. Look at me now. When I stand here to cut under the crest line in overhand position, my back is straight, my shoulders are relaxed, my elbows are down, and this is a comfortable position for me to work in. What happens as I clipper up past the curve of the head? Elbow up, shoulders twisted, back jack, ouch. This doesn't work. Under the crest line, we will maintain overhand positioning. When we come up over the crest line, we switch to underhand positioning. Think about top cutting a flat top or an afro. When I go up over the curve of the head, I go to underhand. Look at me now. When I come up over the curve of the head like this, look at my body position. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed, back straight, comfortable. Have you ever seen somebody, remember it's not you or me, it's one of them co-workers that cuts underhand under the crest line? When they're hopping around the head like this, they get their back and their knees and their hips and their legs, their whole body in on the action. That hurts. It hurts to watch. Think about how you use your biomechanical parts. Your arms, your knees, your hip, your back, your legs, your shoulders. You can add years onto the back end of a career by thinking smart about what you do on the front end of a career. Anybody here who's wearing a Velcro and nylon wrist brace? Because they got carpal tunnel. Who's got it? Hold it up, show it. Anybody got it? You get a free gift if you're wearing your wrist brace. You deserve something, you're killing yourself. Think about how you use your body. You can add years onto the back end of a career by thinking smart early. Body position. Underhand clipper over comb, or overhand under the crest line. Switch to underhand as you come up over the crest line as we attempt to top cut. Now, let's throw a couple other things in here while we're at it. Cross cutting. When we are tapering underneath the curve of the head, holding our comb at an angle, we do what's called cross cutting. This is cross cutting, also sometimes referred to as trap cutting. It's called cross cutting because we are coming across the teeth, 90 degrees or perpendicular to the teeth. Cross cutting. I would say horizontal, but the comb is not horizontal. The comb is held at an angle. We're moving at an angle, but we're moving perpendicular 90 degrees to the teeth. That's called cross cutting. It's very direct. It's very immediate. I call it trap cutting from the idea that when you comb up hair is trapped within the teeth with nowhere to go. It goes off. Trapped within the teeth, off. It is very direct. It is very aggressive. It will take the surface down very rapidly. When you go to the barber shop, you'll see old barber guy will also use a technique called upcutting. Upcutting is a technique where he will run parallel to the teeth. It's not straight up because the comb is not straight up, where cross-cutting is not straight across, upcutting is not straight up. But it's the difference between perpendicular to the teeth and parallel to the teeth. Perpendicular to the teeth is called cross-cutting. I believe that's X on our list. You can throw X up there, and you can put C up there for clipper over comb. We get X thrown in while we're there, and you can also add U, because U is upcutting, and we're covering that as well. Upcutting looks like this. You'll take sections of hair, and you'll come up parallel to the teeth. The difference between cross-cutting and upcutting, cross-cutting when the hair is trapped in the comb is very direct. Think of cross-cutting as roughing in the shape. I'm going to take a lot of hair down in a relatively short period of time. I'm going to very aggressively come in to taper in my shape. This is cross-cutting. Conversely, let me just take a chunk of hair out of this. Let's find the opening. Okay? Conversely, while this is cross-cutting, upcutting will look like this. And the difference with upcutting is when you come up parallel to the teeth, some of the hair gets cut, but some of the hair is simply pushed up and out of the teeth ahead of the blade. So it's less aggressive. It's less progressive. Think of cross-cutting as roughing in the shape, and upcutting is polishing up the shape. Rough it in and polish it up, and rough it in and polish it up. And that's that combination, because old barber guy, when you go watch him, and if you're serious about men's hair cutting, serious men's hair cutting is best learned standing 1.5 feet behind the right shoulder of a serious men's hair cutter. Yesterday we talked about going on a field trip to the barber shop on a Wednesday morning when the senior citizen patrol is out. Take your brother, take your boyfriend, take your husband, take your uncle, take your daddy, take your grandpa. If you don't have a grandpa, go to a nursing home and borrow a grandpa. These guys need fresh air and sunshine. They will appreciate a haircut. You take $10 to a barbershop, you throw it down on the counter, you sit in the waiting room with a magazine, you peek over the top of the magazine, you watch old men cut hair. Tell them who you are. Tell them why you're there. Most of the time, like me, the hinge on their jaw is kind of loose and wiggly. Once they start talking, they won't shut up. These guys have been hanging out in the barbershops since they can stand up straight and hold a broom. This is not my neighborhood, but if we go out the front door of the convention center, we can go down the street and around the corner. We don't have to go far to find a barbershop. A real barbershop with an old guy. 60, 70, maybe 80 years old. He's been in that shop 40, 50, maybe 60 years. You got to go out there and do this. You got to get on that field trip out there and learn it. And barber guy will do that. Cross, 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 up, up, cross, cross, up, up, cross, cross, up, up. As he roughs it in and polishes it up to create beautiful clipper over comb tapered work. Anybody have any questions on clipper over comb? One here, one there.
How do you know how much length you're taking you want to keep?
How do you know how much length you're taking? How do you know how much length you're taking? Cosmetology School 101. Create a guide, follow the guide, don't cut the guide. Let's talk about how to create a guide for tapering clipper over comb. Give me 1 second. What was your question or comment?
If you want to stay on the neckline with the clipper over comb technique, how do you do it? How do you create a nice edge?
If you want to fade out a neckline with a clipper over comb technique, how do you do it? How do you create a nice edge? That'll get a little deeper into getting down the bottom edge of the haircut. I don't want to quite go there yet. I'm going to address her question. It'll relate to it. We can only get so short with the comb because we have the thickness of the comb to contend with. And then we begin to work directly against the head with blades and the adjustment lever. Then we begin to work with our trimmers and some other tools to really finesse that, to create that zero elevation. That's a different letter. If we get there, we'll get there in just a bit. But let's just address what she's talking about. And that is creating a guide, following the guide, and don't cut the guide. We're going to work with something called panel cutting. You can put on our list V. V stands for vertical paneling. V, vertical paneling. Vertical paneling is the answer to the question, how do you eat a rhinoceros? Can anybody tell me? How do you eat a rhinoceros?
Bite it
Yeah, when I was in South Carolina, they like barbecue. No. Somebody else said, no, they're endangered, we don't eat them. No, that's not the answer. It's one bite at a time. For the average cosmetologist, wrestling with a full tapered haircut is like trying to eat a rhinoceros. There's too much there, you can't get your hands around it. You got to break it down. Panel cutting is a system where we subdivide the head into a series of vertical overlapping panels. Panel number 1 exists at the center back of the head. It's right here. It's 1 inch to 1.25 inches wide. It extends from south of the perimeter to north of the occipital bone. I'm going to trace my finger in a box around panel number 1. We're going to cut panel number 1. We're going to cut panel number 1. We're going to cut panel number 1. And we're not going to cut hair anywhere on the head other than panel number 1. Until panel number 1 represents my little finished haircut. Panel number 1 will then become my
guide.
Create a guide, follow the guide, and don't cut the guide. There you go. Panel number 1 is approximately the size of the tooth area of my comb. And I'm going to cut panel number 1. I'm going to use classic 5-step clipper over comb. Let's break it down. Let's look at the steps and let's talk about what it looks like. It looks like this. With my comb held above the top of center back panel number 1, I'm going to comb the hair. There's my starting position. 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We talked about damp hair. Cowlicks, growth patterns, and directions will lay where they want to. I got rid of head. I got rid of gel. I got hair to work with. 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Step number 2 is to tip the comb out and roll it back. How thick is this comb between my 2 fingers? It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. How thick is the spine from the bottom of the teeth to the back edge between my thumb and forefinger where the Andis family printed their name? It's about 1/2 inch. Keep those numbers with you. Follow along and see if this makes sense. If I insert the comb, 1, 2. If I lay it flat against the head and I zip off all the hair hanging out of the comb, how much hair will it leave behind? 1/8 of an inch the thickness of the comb. But if I insert the comb, tip it out, roll it back to the point where the spine is 90 degrees or perpendicular, how much hair will it leave behind?
1/2 inch.
1/2 inch, the thickness of the spine. So in other words, flat leaves me 1/8, perpendicular leaves me 1/2. 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, 1/2. 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, 1/2. Does anybody recognize the numbers? 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, 1/2.
Guides.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's a guard. What clipper, and don't be scared of clipper over comb. What clipper over comb is all about is I took the guard off of here, I moved it over here. Based on my position up and down the head form vertically, and my degree of angle or pitch, I determine how much hair he takes home and how much hair I put on the floor. Down low, I'm going to hold it flatter. Up high, I'm going to rock it out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Step number 3. Step number 3 in classic 5-step clipper over comb is the most important step. Step number 3 is a simple step called look at it. It looks like this. 1, 2, 3. Don't laugh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Look at it. Really look at it. Right before you
Cut it.
cut it. Step 4 is the cut it step. Everybody's in such a freaking hurry to get this step 4. Have you ever seen somebody do that? They go like this. They go 1, 2, 4, and they look at it right after they cut it. Look at it right before you cut it.
Ready,
1,
shoot,
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Step number 5 is the follow through. Step number 5 pulls me up and out of center back pedal number 1, ready to go back in again with step 1. When I put 5 steps together in a smooth fluid motion, it will look like this. Couple of tips and tricks for you now. When you get to step 3 and 4, look at it and cut it. You want to roll the comb till the top of the tips of the teeth are tipped out towards your torso. You want the top of the tips of the teeth to be tipped out towards your torso. If the top of the tips of the teeth are tipped in towards his head, you're going to dig a hole in his head. Unplug the clipper, shut off the lights, oh, it's over, you blew it. All right, roll the comb. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you have trouble indicating where are the top of the tips of the teeth, and did you in fact come past vertical, because you want to come past vertical, one of the training tips we use is a black marker. On a white clipper comb, put a couple of dots on the backs of the teeth like that with your black marker. Because, remember the Western movies? Don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes. Don't shoot till you see the black dots. When the comb is held perfectly vertical, you cannot see the black ink on the back of the teeth like that, because it laps up over the top just a little bit. But as you come past vertical, see the comb? Let me know when you see the black dots. See the black dots? Try these. See the black dots? Okay, look at the black dots. See them at the top there? On the top, along the top. I'll make them a little more exaggerated for you. You know, this is a demonstration, and sometimes you could just agree with me for the sake of the effectiveness of the demonstration. Don't think I'm full of crap. All right? Can you see the dots?
Yeah.
Thank you! All right. But for those of you, and some people it doesn't work. All right, not all the tricks are good ones. No, roll the top of the tips of the teeth out towards you when you can see those black dots on a light comb. Visually, you know you're the slightest bit. Excuse me. It's that beautiful Chicago weather we have. You'll know you got past vertical like that. Now, when we talk about clipper over comb, there are some people in the room that when I share this, they get up and leave. They're so fired up and excited, they can't wait to get home. They can't wait to freaking try this. And by the way, that is leveraging what we call the 48-hour rule of cosmetology and barbering education. The unavoidable, inescapable 48-hour rule of cosmetology and barbering education, which dictates and controls everything you ever learn in our business. The 48-hour rule of cosmetology education states, if you're exposed to something you like or you think you can use, it goes in. It goes in your eyes and it goes in your ears and it rattles around in your little brain for 48 hours. Got to put it into practice. Tonight, you got to cut the neighbors, you got to cut the kids, you got to cut the dog. If you're in a hotel, you order food. When a guy comes up with the tray, you cut his hair. Because otherwise what happens is it's Tuesday. What day is today? It's Monday. It's Monday. Clipper guy shows you like backhand, and you're like, ooh, backhand, Clipper guy, that was freaking awesome. You got one more day of hair show. Wednesday the kids have soccer practice. Thursday is like Dancing with the Stars. Friday is date night. Saturday morning some guy comes in the shop at 11:30 and you're like, ooh, backhand clipper cutting. You turn to your coworker and you go, do you remember how we did that? She's like, I don't remember how we did that. It's Saturday. We don't have time for this. It's gone. Got to use it tonight. Got to put it into practice. So when I share clipper over comb like that, some people get excited. They can't wait to try it. Other people, when I share clipper over comb, they watch me and they go, yeah, sure, I'm going to do that. That's going to go good for me. Not everybody has the same level of comfort and confidence with some of our techniques. One of my mentors, somebody who taught at this show for many, many years, how many people here have ever had the honor and privilege of learning, sitting in a class with a guy named Jim Jones from Lansing, Michigan? Jim Jones, the old man, was just the best